The brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something, because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. They're there to stop the other people. Randy Pausch. My friends, the brick wall for us is the 10 to 15 minutes each and every day you have to find to practice trade the market, to learn by doing. And if you will do that, the market will be your friend. Don't worry about how long it will take. Why? Because once you master the market, you'll make up for all the time you ever spent. Let's jump into these charts. It is a day where everything is up. And as we look at the S&P 500, of course, we are along the S&P because we used our volume and our Heikin-Ashi candlesticks to help us see what the market's true mood was by using price and volume. You become like the old masters, the Jesse Livermores and such, and you're able to see investor sentiment. My new book is about to go to the editor. Then it will go off to the people who will set it up as far as, the printing and all that other stuff goes. And we will be getting it out. And of course, I appreciate so many of you who bought our first book. This next one is going to be it times 100. I'm just very proud of it. It's going to be an enjoyable read. It's going to be extremely helpful, and I can't wait to share it with you. But in the meantime, let's keep pushing through these charts. We see the S&P 500 up 0.58% for the day. You can see price on the 2-day is above that weekly trend line, and on the half-day, you can see where things meandered sideways for 2 days and then popped up today, going in the right direction. Let's look at the NASDAQ 100. It's up 0.22%. Again, it's moving up in the right direction. Green spinning top last week. Nice up candle. We are continuing to pay attention to the volume. Maybe we'll have a lot of volume tomorrow. Not a lot of volume so far this week on the NASDAQ. And as we look at the S&P 500, of course, not a lot there. Again, price above on the 2-day, above that weekly trend line, and on the half-day. We'll continue to see how this week progresses as we come to the end tomorrow. What about 20-year bonds up 0.49%? Of course, we have been talking about how we had that doji last week and then things moving around. We had higher than average volume back on the 15th, but it didn't hit the interim low. To have a clean turnaround, what we like is an interim low. Of course, that just means before the turnaround where we have it hitting lower and we have average or above average volume. Then we have a turnaround, and I'll show you here on the NASDAQ. We had that little above average, and nicely above average here that week before where it did hit the low. Took it a little longer to slow down. We like that to usually be immediate, but it doesn't have to be. And a picture perfect one is. And then a green spinning top. Like to see a top a little thicker, but that's okay. Higher than average volume. That was our turnaround point. Now, we did not see that with 20-year bonds. We didn't get a lower low with a decent volume. We then had a doji with higher than average volume that didn't hit the low, okay? And then it did turn around. So yes, it has turned around, but not super strong. Does it mean that it's not going to keep going up? No, but you can see where it monkeyed around here, coming down, turning over, turning back over, but you can see all that stuff in there, no volume. After this one, then of course the volume started to accelerate down, but no clean entry point. You want to see a clean entry point? Let's go back to October, end of October, end of October last year, where we hit our interim low with above average volume, nice green spinning top turnaround, picture postcard, perfect. That's what we like. And if you don't have that, can you enter a trade? Sure, you could have done it right here. You'd have lost, you would have lost, you would have lost, you would have lost, and you, again, you can just see it doesn't work. The math doesn't work. You want volume to help you along with price make the right decision. Now, let's see where we are on gold. Gold up 1.58%, our biggest gainer for the day. But what's that really telling us? As we look at what's happening with gold, we see where, gold reached its interim high, and then it broke down. Last week, we had a red spinning top with above average volume, just barely. The week before, a doji with above average volume, just barely. This week, maybe we'll get to above average volume. Still think there's a lot weighting gold down. But as we talked about, well, our Patreon members heard this. When we look at GDX, gold miners, check this out. I was talking to Patreon members yesterday about this. We had the interim high on the gold miners, and again, back just like gold reached its high back on the 8th of April. And then I've been watching gold miners as they've started gaining some more steam. Now, does that necessarily translate into gold? No, but that is making me question whether gold's going to roll over or not, with the gold miners gaining some edge there. So we'll keep an eye on gold and see which way it is going. We're still, as far as the candles and all that goes, it's hard to be anything but ambivalent. And if you put a gun to my head, I'd say negative. Okay, let's look at HODL. Where is Bitcoin? Up just barely 0.36%. We saw where Bitcoin moved up starting back last Thursday, the 2nd of May, and really topped on Monday of this week and has been moving over down since then. Hasn't gone below the weekly trend line yet on the half-day chart. It's sitting right on it on the 2-day, and this is, of course, the weekly trend line. It's translated on all of our charts. So we will keep an eye on Bitcoin. Again, we're hoping we're negative Bitcoin right now, waiting for it to, pull back some more, and we're just hoping for a nice, clean rotation over. About the time maybe that we start getting our average volume here on this new chart. Going to have to be 20 weeks for that to happen, but that'll be helpful. In the meantime, of course, we've been using the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart, and we can see that volume this week, quite lackadaisical. Lots of indecision with that doji. That is where we are. Patreon members, we've already put up at the Patreon page yesterday, you're charting cryptos, commodities, and currencies, as well as three-wave trades. I'm sitting here looking at 15 weekly vertical crossovers for you on the S&P 500. I will be loading all of those also up to the Patreon page, and I'll be sending out the email. Look for the email with the videos and the weekly vertical crossovers. If you don't see it, remember, we always put everything up on the Patreon page too, in case something goes wrong with your email. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.